Good evening. My name is Reverend Mary Bogan. I am one of the shepherds here at Damascus International Fellowship that will be leading tonight's Bible study. We'll be doing the Bible study in two parts. The first part, of course, will be the lecture, and then we will transition to a more interactive session with the Zoom format. If you're a member of Damascus International Fellowship, you have received the link for the Zoom interactive session. If you are not a member of Damascus International Fellowship, you may go to our website and register to be given the link. I indeed hope that you will join us for the more interactive session. As you know, that our theme this year is people with purpose, a people of purpose. So tonight I am going to once again walk us through. I know we've been walking through the Joshua passages, our theme passage, Joshua 1:5. I am going to be taking us through Joshua 1 through 9, actually. And I'm going to be focusing on be strong and courageous. Our strength or his strength. Good evening. My name is Reverend Mary Bogan. I am one of the shepherds here at Damascus International Fellowship that will be leading tonight's Bible study. We'll be doing the Bible study in two parts. The first part, of course, will be the lecture, and then we will transition to a more interactive session with the Zoom format. If you're a member of Damascus International Fellowship, you have received the link for the Zoom interactive session. If you are not a member of Damascus International Fellowship, you may go to our website and register to be given the link. I indeed hope that you will join us for the more interactive session. As you know, that our theme this year is people with purpose, a people of purpose. So tonight I am going to once again walk us through. I know we've been walking through the Joshua passages, our theme passage, Joshua 1:5. I am going to be taking us through Joshua 1 through 9, actually. And I'm going to be focusing on be strong and courageous. Our strength or his strength. So I'm going to start off by asking you to open your Bibles to our familiar passage, and I hope that it is beginning to be something that's captivating your heart, your mind, and your spirit. I'm going to read not all of Joshua 1 through 9, but some very key passages for tonight's discussion. After the death of Moses, the servant of the Lord said to Joshua, son of Nun, Moses' aide, Moses, my servant, is dead. Now then you and all these people get ready to cross the Jordan River into the land I'm about to give you. Verse 5, he says, be strong and courageous, because you will lead these people to inherit the land I swore to their ancestors to give them. I also think it's important to never forget what he promises, though. He says, no one will be able to stand against you all the days of your life. As I was with Moses, I will be with you. Be strong and courageous. Verse 7, I want us to not miss this emphasis, this added word. He said, be strong and very courageous. He also says with that, be careful to obey the laws my servant Moses gave you. Do not turn from it to the right or to the left, that you may be successful wherever you go. Keep this book of the law always on your lips. Always on your lips. Meditate on it day and night, so that you may be careful to do everything written in it. Then you will be prosperous and successful. Have I not commanded you? Strong language here. Have I not commanded you to be strong and courageous? He says, do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. For the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. Be strong. Be courageous. When I was 27 years old, my father died suddenly after a very long illness. And despite the lengthy illness, I was totally distraught when I learned of his death. I think one of the reasons is that he had called me the Saturday before the Sunday he died, and he sounded stronger than ever. I remember arriving home, catching a plane, arriving home. Key family member greeted me as the tears were flowing down my eyes. And the first thing she said is, stop it. You stop that right now. Be strong for your mom. For many years, I equated being strong with being silent, sucking it up, not revealing, but more concealing. I thought that's what being strong was. But I love what God is doing here with Joshua. He says, be strong and courageous. I believe God is saying to Moses, be strong and be courageous enough to be vulnerable. You see, when we are strong, it's not what we conceal, it's what we reveal. When have you been strong? How do you define being strong? One of the points that I like to make from a biblical cross-reference is Deuteronomy 3:28. Moses has been told that he will not be entering the promised land to cross the Jordan. And he is still somewhat making his appeal to God. And yet God is telling him, you need to stop talking about that. Don't speak to me about that matter again. You're not going to Jordan. But he gives him something that I want us to understand, that God has you on this kind of assignment as well for the person that he has commissioned. He says to him, I want you, and I think this is very significant. He didn't say just simply, tell Joshua to be strong and courageous. He says, I need you to commission Joshua. I need you to make the transition. I need you to let Joshua know that he's the man of the hour. I need you to strengthen and encourage him. That's your God. That's our God. This is just not words. This is a God who understands not only the assignment, but our humanity in dealing with the assignment. Be strong. And then God comes directly to Joshua and he says, be strong and be courageous. What about you? Where is God asking you in something that he has called you to do? One of the things that I have asked you to think about, and we will talk more about this when we have our more interactive session. Where have you experienced a godly boldness and courage in your walk with God? What does it mean to you to be strong? When you make declarations that say, my mother was one of the strongest women I knew. What attributes of God did your mother display? One of the things that I know that we tend to do is to be strong. Sometimes has cost us also, as we trust our defenses, as we trust our strategies, as we trust our achievements, how we have persevered and stayed the course. We began to trust our own strengths. We began to build up our own personal strongholds. God reminds Joshua of something that he reminds us. I'm the same God. I am that same God, and I will be with you wherever you go in this assignment. I will be with you. Be strong and courageous. You see, God was not asking Moses to suck it up. He was asking him not to give up. Being strong, once again, is not what we conceal. He was not. Courage takes vulnerability. Courage takes a walk in humility. A courage requires that you engage others. We would see that in the verse 10, you will see that Moses, after this conversation with God, goes over and prepares the people to cross the Jordan. He's clear. He doesn't even reference this conversation with God. He just simply said, get ready. If I were to ask you, what bold thing, what bold choice that you make in your world, in your life, I would suggest that your responses would be about a movement, an action that you took. You see, you will never be bold and courageous by staying put. Sometimes that boldness and actions means that you have to think differently. Your history is to be not a hitching post, but a guidepost. Be strong. Your strength. Where do you get your strength? Psalms 18:1 says, I love the Lord, for he is my strength. He says, be strong. Be strong in me. Sometimes we admire those people who we consider to be strong. We admire them because they kept smiling in the midst of difficulties. They kept busy. They kept moving, never letting you see them sweat. They are reserved. And we say they are very strong. Perhaps they are. But however, I have since learned that the source of their strength for some is not just their physical fierce determination. It's because it is not their soul source. S-O-L-E is not themselves, but it's the soul source that is God. You see, if you do not understand that it is God who is with you, it is God who is the author, it is God who has set the path, it would be so easy for you to build up your personal strongholds of defensiveness, perfections, exclusion, isolation, exaggerated involvement, jolly folly, always the life of the party, or for some, as they meet the difficulties of life, they begin to amputate those relationships they associate with making them vulnerable. When God is asking or commanding, he's not asking. I love the fact that he's commanding him to be strong and to be courageous, to be forceful, to be bold without being dominating, to engage others with clarity. In verse 10, we see that he is engaging the troops. He is telling them without hesitation, without reservation, what is going to happen. He says, get ready. He's not living in the shadows of Moses. He is saying, get ready. He doesn't even say, I am your leader now. He steps in that role because God was with him and Moses had strengthened him, and Moses had accepted his assignment, and he had commissioned Joshua, and Joshua just stepped in it, and he says, get ready. You see, when we are bold and courageous, God uses us to lead others, to become with clarity and engagement, and says, get ready. And he reminds them, and he encourages, he strengthens them, that says, the assignment has not changed. The task has not changed. He says, be strong. In his mind, he could hear God saying, be strong. He said, because I will be with you. And they make a bold statement. He says, just as we fully obeyed God in verse 17, only may the Lord be with you as God will be with Moses. And I know that Joshua was saying, God is with me. Who do you need to strengthen and encourage? Is it enough to tell your children, to tell others, to tell yourself, to simply be strong? Where is God asking you to meditate on his promises, on his requirements, day and night? Metaphorically speaking, I think of day as things that I can maybe see more clearly, more open, more light. I think of night as perhaps when things are not as clear, when things are a little bit foggy, a little bit vague. But God says, no matter what, you need to meditate. How can you respond to a God who is coming to you? And it's very interesting. God comes to the committed. He commissions the committed, the ones who have built up those strength muscles, the ones who know that, as in Philippians 4:13, that says, I can do all things through God who has strengthened me. What is your story? How will you use it? How will you manifest the courage to be vulnerable, to know that God is with you? What and how is God asking you to move forward, to go forward? If ever there was a time that we need boldness, we need forcefulness, not unbridled dominance, but be bold and forceful. Be open and willing to learn. Enter in that learning space. Enter in that Bible study where you know very little. Open your mouth. Declare what you're learning. Ask questions. Be bold even in that moment. That moment, even in that study, even in that time, God is with you. Be bold and courageous, negotiating time to honor your commitment to the Lord. Be bold and courageous. Do not be discouraged. Do not be afraid. Joshua defeated 31 kings. And he had to remember that voice. that voice that said, be strong, be bold, be forceful. Look to me, for whence cometh my help, knowing that my help comes from the Lord. Once again, what being bold or being strong is not. Being strong is not being stubbornly independent. It's not hiding your exhaustion. It is not hiding the fact that there are times when you will experience defeat. There are times you may feel depleted, but remember, your God is with you wherever you go. Remember these three things that Joshua had walked with Moses. Joshua had been strengthened. Joshua could hear these words where God is reminding him, I'm that same God. You see, you are being strengthened. You are being strengthened and encouraged through the experience of God's faithfulness, His mercy, His compassion, and yes, when He even chastens you. You are being strengthened by what you choose to remember. Not your might, but His might. You are being strengthened every time you decide to commit to studying, learning, and applying God's word through all of the scenarios in your life. Be strong and courageous. You will never get there trying to please others. You will never experience the power of God until you yield, till you understand this command. But also, it's not simply the act of, quote, being bold and being forceful. He is also saying, you must remember, you must meditate, you must not turn to the left, turn to the right, you must have clarity. But in all of it, you must be obedient, you must yield, you must trust. Where is God asking you to accept the assignment? God is coming to you. For some of you, He has already declared this is the assignment. He is asking you, no, He's commanding you to be bold and to be very courageous, to be that leader that will take others to territories, to other opportunities, to see God's presence. For He is with you. He is with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you. The other thing that I want you to think about as we're reaching a close to the lecture part of this is this. It's His outcome. It's God's declared outcome. It's His destination. It's His time and His place. It is God's being with you is not a feeling, it's a fact. So even if you do not feel that He's with you, He's with you. He's with. I thought, in the spirit of Black History Month, I want to leave us with this visual, if you will. It's an imprint for me because I am here because people were bold and they were very courageous. When I consider the people who chose under Dr. Martin Luther King's leadership and others had gone down before Dr. Martin Luther King, when they chose to cross that Selman Bridge, when Dr. Martin Luther King knelt down and prayed, and he didn't move the first time, but then the next time, he and all of those people in the face of dogs, troops, horses, billy clubs, rifles. I could hear God saying to them, to Martin, to Joshua today, be strong, be bold, be forceful. I will be with you. I will be with you because I'm in you to the end of the earth. I look forward to seeing you in our interactive session.